My theme song.
Those are my words exactly. In the Morelos Mountains, campesinos are planting their fields, where the ghost of Zapata rides a horse that can still outrun the wheels. High in the sky above and clear outside, it's the free Mexican Air Force flying tonight. Well, there in Kentucky, a cowgirl is cooling her heels, remembering that God gave us herbs and the fruits of the field. But a criminal law that makes outlaws of those seeking life make a free Mexican Air Force, Escalito riding his white horse. The free Mexican Air Force is flying tonight, flying so high. Yeah, yeah, yeah. How strange an innocent herb causes money to burn. They'll jail you or kill you for making those rich fat cats squirm. But nothing can stop us, my vision is clearly in sight. And the free Mexican Air Force is flying tonight. While we smoking colitas, federales are loading their guns, blowing smoke from their six-shooters, spinning their barrels for fun. Contrabandistas, banditos of light, we're the free Mexican Air Force and we're flying tonight. And high in the hills we are harvesting sweet sensimilla. The law wants it all because they think the wine we can free us. Freedom for us is a prison for the rulers of might. That's why the free Mexican Air Force, Escalito riding his white horse. The free Mexican Air Force is flying tonight, flying so high.
Good evening. Welcome to Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and More. You cut that down a little bit here. We don't want to drown out our guests here tonight. I'm honored to have Trisha Morrison. She's the widow of Tommy the Duke Morrison, and I'm sure anybody who knows anything about boxing, anybody who's in here tonight, and I appreciate everybody that came in here, man. I from the bottom of my heart, you know I do, and I'm going to shout you all out in a second, man. But let me bring up the special guest of honor tonight, man. This is a woman that I met on Twitter, and she was gracious enough to accept an invitation to come on here and tell the true story. Tell what she believes about what happened to her husband, Tommy the Duke Morrison. Man, he was a great fighter, and I pulled out one of my KO magazines. My wife dug it up for me, man, and on the cover of a KO magazine from September 1992, White Man Can't Fight. And Tommy Morrison, he had that tag that he detested, the Great White Hope. But anyway, man, I'm gonna bring on Trisha over here, man. This is my sister. I met her, and she's a kindred spirit. And pleased to meet you, my sister, Trisha Morrison. How are you?
I'm doing great, Bruce. Thank you. Thanks so much for having me on your show. I really appreciate it.
Truly my pleasure. Truly my pleasure. Gonna let a few more people slide in the room, and I know I spoke to Tim Witherspoon. He's gonna try to jump on. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties, but I'm gonna call Tim in a few minutes if he doesn't get on. And if I'm sure he's going to. See, Tim is a cat like me. He was born way back in the 60s, maybe even in the 50s. I think he was born in the 50s. He's a couple of years younger than I am, but not much, just a couple of years. And in fact, our birthdays are like 2 days apart. That's how I met him.
All right.
But anyway, man, we're gonna see if Tim gets up here, and Trish, why don't we start off? Let me talk a little bit about Tommy. Why don't you tell us about how you met Tommy and what condition he was in, and a little bit about Tommy's background for us.
Sure. Well, first of all, the one thing I need to say is that when Tommy passed away, they found no HIV and no AIDS. So this whole interview really is to update a lot of people that still believe the old narrative out there. And Tommy for years was trying to exonerate himself. And I was actually in Las Vegas in 1996, the day it happened. And I know before we came on live, you remember that day too. I don't think anybody could forget that day, whether you were in boxing or in Vegas or anywhere. It was a very big story. And I was in Vegas, didn't actually meet him in person, but I just happened to be working in Vegas that week, and in fact those years that this all happened. And I got to meet Tommy eventually in 2009 in Wichita, Kansas, and we're both from different worlds. I was not involved in any boxing. I was more of a tennis player. And so there was a lot to learn and a lot to catch up on. And basically I did what everybody else did, was just Google on the computer. And in 2009, you could pull up anything from the 90s and so on. So when we met, it was very bittersweet for him, because sweet in the fact that I really wasn't interested in what the media was saying. I was more interested in how he felt and what he was thinking and what he was talking about. And I did a lot of listening. And that's something that a lot of people never gave their time to Tommy. They basically ridiculed him in the media. Everybody stayed away from him, 6 foot distancing, didn't want to be in the same room, didn't want to hear him. So it was a learning curve. And but that's how we met back in 2009.
And you weren't familiar with any of Tommy's boxing or his career, the nephew of John Wayne.
Nothing.
Nothing.
No, absolutely nothing. I mean, in fact, one day he said he was going to go and spar, and I thought, oh my goodness, he's going off to a spar, and I had no idea what sparring meant. So, and so I had to Google it as well. I'm thinking, okay, he's gone to spar, So I knew nothing about boxing and nothing about any of the career that he had. And I didn't even know about Rocky Five. I didn't know who Sly was. You know, I just was a regular person, I guess, from Europe that had always worked up in the mountains and the ski resorts and places like that. What I was meeting, I was meeting Tommy. I wasn't meeting a celebrity or a boxer or anybody like that. I was meeting Tommy.
All right. Hey, let me shout out everybody that came in here, because I appreciate that so much, that people give us their time to just come down and come in here and listen to us. So I like to give them a little shout out of appreciation, man. I got Andrew Charles who came in here. Thanks, Andrew, man. Carl Hunter Hansen from Australia coming in here, man. Worldwide. My brother LeVar Cooper, the man who gave me my microphone to do this, man. He told me, he says, Bruce, you gotta get out. You gotta get out there, and you gotta do a show, and let these people know who you are. And man, God bless you, LeVar. Thank you so much for that, man. Al Money, my brother Al Money's out there. Jose Diaz, salute. My brother Big Duke, man, the guy that I do my fourth quarter talk, man. We talk about how to stay in shape and how to get in shape. And shout out to my brother Big Duke. Mr. Pads, always showing love and support. My brother, Mr. Pads, he's almost like my real brother from another mother. I see him every day on the internet, and man, a great guy. Never heard him speak, never spoke to him, but man, he's always there and always showing love and support. Shout out to Mr. Pads. I got JC. Shout out to my brother JC, man. I appreciate you coming in here. Mr. Gumbo, the OG. Shout out to Mr. Gumbo. Steve Bateman, man, appreciate you coming in here, Steven. And I think we got some other guests who slid in the back here while we were. Con Shawnery, bro. Shout out to my brother Con Shawnery. Appreciate it, man. Peter Von Ox, thank you for coming in. And hey, I got another former fighter back here, man. This guy held the WBC and WBA heavyweight championship, and I'm sure he knew Tommy. Anyway, let's bring him on. I got my brother, Mr. Tim Witherspoon here. Timmy.
Yeah.
Timmy, I want to introduce you to Trisha Morrison.
Oh, I'm on.
Hi, Tim.
Hey, who's that? That's Trisha.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you too. It took me 20 hours to get on here.
I know. Yeah.
How's everything?
Doing good, thank you. Tommy spoke about you, and he loved you like a brother, and he told me a lot about you.
You got an accent.
Yeah, it's a English accent.
You from England?
Yeah.
I was everywhere over there.
Yeah, I know.
I was Sheffield. I started out in Sheffield, then Sheffield, then we went down. Then I went down London. Then I was everywhere. I was all over. We had fun. Like my daughter that got me on here, she's from Tottenham.
Tottenham, really?
She was born in Tottenham, and I spent a lot of time down there.
Right.
And Shania is on. I did it, not you.
Hey, you guys don't mind if I have a smoke, do you?
Hey, what you doing smoking?
It's all legal. You know it, Tim. I'm a card-carrying marijuana patient, and I got some heavy hitters over here, and my nerves are going like butterflies over here. Butterflies on a spring day, and I need a couple of tokes to calm me down. So
I'm sorry. What was your name again?
His name is Bruce.
Oh, he knows my name.
What's your name?
My name is Trisha.
Okay,
Trisha
Trisha,
Morrison.
I remember that. And
Right.
what part of London, what part of England were you from?
From the southeast, from like Wimbledon, Kent area. Yeah.
Okay, I fought in Wembley Stadium, but you said Wimbledon.
That's big. Yeah, I know the Brits like you a lot.
Yeah, I was over there all the time. I was over
Yeah.
there like 3 months, then I go home. Then maybe 4 months, then I go home. I was in Ireland like 5 times also, but England is like my second home.
Wow.
Is that where you at? Are you there now?
No, I'm in Kansas now.
Oh, Kansas. Okay. You don't like it back home no more, huh?
Yeah, it's different right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me shout out. Let me shout out my brother Michael Johnson, who stopped in the room, man. We got Hoopa Poopala. I don't know where you come from, bro, but I appreciate you in here. Seven Coleman, thanks for coming by. And you came to the right room tonight because we got some serious boxing talent in here. We have the widow of Tommy the Duke Morrison. She's a special guest here tonight. That's
Tommy's. Oh, okay.
I thought you knew that, brother.
Oh goodness, that's cool. I was with him. Was we in England? We were over in England. Me, him, Bone Crusher. We had a show. We did a show over there. Oh, I met you before.
Where?
Did I meet you? We were over. We had a show over there. A event. Tommy was there. Me.
It was probably Canastota we met.
Is that Canada?
No, Canastota, the Hall of Fame.
No, we did a tour. Maybe that wasn't you. Maybe that wasn't you. Maybe he was by himself.
That was before my time, Tim.
Oh, but this was in England. And me and what's his name? Oh, I was rushing around. Joe. What's his name?
Joe Hip?
No, this is an Irish kid. Joe Egan.
Joe Egan.
Joe Egan. Oh yeah. That was Tyson's sparring partner, wasn't he?
Yeah, but we got in a little beef over there. Me and Joe about the. So you probably wasn't there. It was me, Tommy, Joe, Tony Toker. We all did an event there. We had a couple of events there. So you wasn't there.
No, I didn't. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, this is so cool. Tim, let me ask you a question. When you heard Tommy Morrison had contracted AIDS on that day of February 1996, what were your feelings on that, brother?
No, say that again.
When you heard that Tommy had contracted the HIV, what were your feelings on that? I
felt kind of like when he contacted, I felt kind of like, wow, like that. I met him, I talked to him, a really cool guy. I don't know too much more about. I know he probably was aggressive in certain different times. She know more about than me, but I felt kind of bad for the brother. He was a nice guy. When I met him in England, he was cool, down to earth. I don't know when he go off. She knows more than I know, but he seemed to be a really nice guy. But if you mess with him, he will fight you back. That's the feeling I got.
Now, Tim, have you heard what Trisha's telling us? Tommy never contracted HIV. It was crazy. Trish, why don't you tell us about that? About a little bit more about that. When he got that $34 million contract from Don King, and within several hours, his career was over.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Tim, when Tommy died, he had a post-mortem done, and there was no HIV. And a couple of years before he died, I had all the AIDS diseases tests done on him, and they were all negative. And there was also another independent lab that did a blood test on him, and they found no HIV. Now, what I've been working on, Tim, is for the last 10 years since Tommy died, is I've been trying to find out who diagnosed Tommy with HIV in Vegas the day before or the day of the fight that he was supposed to fight against Arthur Stormy Weathers, and that was the first fight under the Don King contract. And nobody takes the responsibility for that diagnosis anymore. Nobody.
That's big news. That what she just saying is really big.
Yeah.
Whoa, that is big. So he didn't have HIV.
No, he didn't have HIV. And I'm going to show you, and it's not me that's saying that. I don't know if you can zoom in here.
Wait a minute here. There we go.
Okay, that's Dr. Robert Voy in Vegas. He says
Okay.
no HIV. This is
Whoa.
Dr. Gunlauger in Boston, no HIV. This is Dr. Anthony Fauci, which I think we all know,
Yeah,
and
that's him. Oh, that's
and
the
he
big shot. Okay.
that's that's the big shot. And Anthony Fauci says that in order to have AIDS, you have to have Kaposi sarcoma and PCP as being part of the AIDS diagnosis. Well, Dr. William Bauman found no PCP in him. Also, Dr. Jessica Kobel found no Kaposi in him. And then also, Dr. Michelle Steckelberg found no histoplasmosis in him. And then we carry on with Rick Pesano from Quest Diagnostics. He found no JCP virus in him. Then we have Scott Heasty. He found no CMV in him, which is another AIDS disease. Dr. Dr. Subud Lely found no Kaposi sarcoma. Dr. Phil, which is where Tommy died, found no HIV in him. Dr. Hinrich in Omaha, Nebraska, found no HIV in him. It's not just me, Tim, saying this.
Whoa, that is
It's
big.
all these physicians, right? And this is what I've been working on in the last 10 years.
Whoa, that is big. That is really big. Can't, I can't believe all that evidence. Oh, my daughter
Yeah.
said you're beautiful. My daughter said you're beautiful.
Oh,
she
oh, thank you.
she walked over there.
Oh, I checked her out before I was gonna have her on the show, man. I says, this is one hot lady, man. She's gonna bring the ratings over here. But
But but what she is saying,
Yeah.
that is big.
and the thing is, it's been out there, but people don't hear it. They don't want to hear
Don't
it, and
nobody know about
that's
that.
what that's why we have to. It's our responsibility because this is a woman who's standing by her man for 10 years, man. She wants to clear her man's reputation, and he was done dirty by the boxing world. They took 10 years out of his career for nothing. A $34 million contract in 10 years, and this is the only woman who's standing up and trying to get some retribution going on over here.
Yeah.
That is big news, right? What she just saying.
So, Tim, I have some other boxers like Donnie Lalonde,
Yeah, Donnie
Jeff,
Milan.
yeah, Jeff Fennick, Bob Mirovic, Richie
Oh,
LaMontagne.
you a promoter?
No, but hey, maybe I should be, right? Everything that I found out about the sweet science, Carletta Ewell. I mean, I've got some boxers that are right behind Tommy, not only in life but in death, that are out there fighting for him too. It's just getting the word out there, Tim. It's been so hard. The media have suppressed it. I've taken this, everything that I mentioned tonight is in the U.S. Supreme Court. Just like Muhammad Ali, he went to the U.S. Supreme Court. I also went to the U.S. Supreme Court for Tommy. Everything that I have found out is memorialized in the Supreme Court and also in the Ninth Circuit Court. Everybody's depositions, everything is in there. It's just been 10 years of finding out all kinds of stuff, and I just need it to get out there, and I need your
Mm.
help.
Um, I would have to talk to Brian. Brian is a good person. Um, Brian is a good person. I have to do. I would have to check with my people, Brian, and my lawyers and all them too. So you would have to talk to them. I'm a supporter of boxing and negative things. I'll be the first one in the front lines if it's true or whatever. Um, I don't want to jump into something and get embarrassed.
No.
Not that I don't believe it. That is really big news right there. And
Yeah,
that's the first I heard it, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe it.
it is.
But I believe that that could easily be brought to everybody's ears. I don't, you know, this little pop show podcast, not this little podcast, but this podcast can have people view and understand But
Right.
I'm sure if a lot of people knew about that, it would be big news.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Hey, Bruce, all I can hear is music in the background. Is that
No, I'll get rid of that. I thought that was just going to be background, but we have we have we have too much going on here. We don't need any background music. We
right?
have the three of us with no problem at all. Let me shout out who else came in here, man, because I appreciate that. My brother Just Do came in here. Stephen Bateman came in here. Phil's in here. Seven Cullen's in here, and let's see who else came in here, man. Because I appreciate you cats coming in here. Tony Boswell, my real brother out there, man. Shout out to everybody's my real brother. But you know, it's funny. You feel I love everybody, but I really like a lot of these cats, you know. So it's you know, and thank you guys for coming in here. But Trish, now after Tommy got this news, and I know he got that fight in Japan. It was supposed to be his last fight. How bad did things get? How I know, because he had a lot of trouble with the law, with drug addiction. Can you get into that a little bit?
Yeah. The years that I spent with Tommy, he was the most sober. He went through drug rehab. So we sat. I listened. He did all the talking. He even wrote a couple of paperback books with all his memories in there. One of them is called My Darkest Years. Those were very dark years for him. You know, you have to imagine, like Tim, you know, somebody comes up to you, tells you you've got HIV, which will probably go to AIDS, which is a death sentence. It gets you into a different mind frame, and you go through depression. You try and fill a void. You know, you get involved with drugs. You get involved with bad people. So you know, this is not a funny story, you know, that he lived, and to live it from 1996 all the way through. All those years without knowing any of the stuff that I found out is just it's horrible. I don't know, Bruce, if you can play that part where he's, you know, actually told, like ESPN came out with this documentary, Tim, on him, right, without my real knowledge that they were going to do such a horrible job on him. But Bruce has got a few clips that I'd like him to show, and then I can go into some of the information that I found out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, this was the first one. This was the one with Mark Ratner.
Yeah.
Mark Ratner.
Listen, Tim, you will be surprised at all this.
Mark Ratner, is he from
Nevada?
Oh, Mark Ratner. Okay.
Maybe 3-4 years ago, I saw him in Vegas, and he was at Scrap Shingle. And I told him I said, consider making a comeback, and he told me, he looked me right in the eye. He said, Tommy, he said, keep digging. Keep digging. You know, that struck me as odd. I don't know.
So that's Tommy, who is getting pieces of information. He's trying to piece it together. All these years, he's trying to piece what happened that day. You know, why do I feel so good when I'm supposed to be dying? What happened? So here he is saying that he came across Mark Ratner at a casino in Vegas, telling him that he's thinking of doing a comeback. And Mark Ratner looks him in the eye, and he tells Tommy to keep digging, keep digging. And so Tommy thought that was really strange. And Mark Ratner was there that day of the fight. And can you pull up the next clip, Bruce?
Yep. Doing my 60s technical best over here.
Right.
Yeah, we go. Well, press the wrong button. Hang on 1 second.
I'm sorry. I just came straight from the gym, rushed here to cook some food, and got some food in me.
and it's amazing, Tim. You know, you're still in the gym, and if Tommy was still with us, he'd probably still be in the gym today too.
Man, he had a hell of a left hook.
Oh.
You can't tell me he's not left-handed.
All right. I'm going to play this. This is Mark Ratner under oath. This said this never happened. Check this out. Trish will explain it.
This is Mark Ratner, the Nevada Athletic Commissioner. He goes, listen, I want you at the ring right now, and don't bring anybody. I just need to talk to you. And I went up and sat down next to him, and he had tears in his eyes. And he goes, Tommy failed his test. And I said, what test? He goes, he tested positive for HIV.
Okay, next one.
Can you explain that one, or do you want to see the next one right away?
Yeah, so Tim, that is something from a documentary ESPN 30 for 30 brought out on Tommy, and it's Tony Holden, who was actually not Tommy's promoter for that fight. He had a separate contract with Don King. Okay, but Tony Holden says he goes to the ring because Mark Ratner tells him that he needs to meet him there. And this is the day of the fight, okay, in Vegas, February 10th, 1996. And he says, I need to meet you at the ring. So Tony says he goes down to the ring, sits with Mark Ratner. Mark Ratner, he says, tells him that Tommy's failed his HIV test. He's got HIV and everything is canceled, okay? So that's what is out there on the HIV thing. Okay, now Bruce is going to play something else.
Tony just said, I don't know any other way to tell you this than just come out and tell you. You can talk to medical exam. I said, you got the logic for HIV. Which I never said, by the way. I forget.
Play it again, Bruce.
All right.
Tony just said, I don't know any other way to tell you this than just come out and tell you. You can talk to medical exam.
I heard that.
You got the logic for HIV. Which I never said, by the way. I forget.
I heard a little bit of that.
And that was Mark Ratner saying that he never said what we just heard him say.
Right. So here we have Tommy again trying to piece it together. And Tommy is speaking with Mark Ratner, who was the executive commissioner in Vegas, pretty big guy.
Yes.
And he's saying to Mark Ratner that Tony Holden told him that he had failed his test and he's got HIV. And Mark Ratner says to him, I never said that. He never said he had HIV. So that is really interesting. So now I'm going to read you some court documents, right? You just saw something on ESPN that the whole world believes that Mark Ratner is at the ringside telling Tony Holden that Tommy's got HIV. And then you've got Tony Holden going to Tommy, telling him he's got HIV. And this is where it all begins on February 10th, 1996. So in court records, and I know, Tim, you've been through a few lawsuits as well, right? So the question goes out to Mark Ratner, and it's, please state with specificity all the facts and identify all documents related or concerning your ringside meeting with Tony Holden. And he responds, this responding party did not meet with Tony Holden ringside. And that's in a court document under oath. And then, okay, so I thought, okay, well, maybe I misunderstood. He's basically saying that he didn't meet anybody at ringside to tell them about HIV. So another question is, please state with specificity, again, all facts and identify all the documents related and concerning your license to practice medicine to deliver a diagnosis ringside on February 10th, 1996. And Mark Ratner responds, this party, I am not licensed to practice medicine and did not deliver a diagnosis on February 10th, 1996. ringside, or at any other location. So you've got Mark Ratner saying, I never said it. So nobody right now says that Tommy had HIV in Vegas.
Wow, wow. And let me just shout out my brother Big Texas who came in here. Shout out to you. My brother Will Combat Sports. I appreciate it, man. That's an OG, man. He's always on the ball.
That's
Brian
some big-
Hodkin, man. Shout out to my brother Brian Hodkin. And man, hey, Trish, just to ask you, why would they do this? What would be the purpose of ruining Tommy like this?
Yeah, that's crazy. He was America's.
Yeah. Do you have any idea why?
Well, you know, the plot thickens, right? You have to understand that I don't know boxing, right? I've had to learn a lot about boxing. I've had to learn about HIV, the sweet science, the rules and regulations of boxing, contracts, donking contracts, and stuff like that, right? So, you know, I still need to find out, okay, is it donking behind this?
Excuse me. Why would they do that to America's hero, Tommy the
Right.
Duke Morrison? I would see them doing that to Tyson or somebody not white, not being racist or nothing.
Right.
He was American. No, he's American. He was knocking everybody out. He wore
The Mike Tyson fight would have been huge. I mean, that would have been off the walls. Tommy Morrison versus Mike Tyson.
Why would they do that to him?
Yeah. Well, the plot thickens, right? So, Tommy's opponent is Arthur Stormy Weathers, right? Who you probably have heard of. So in this lawsuit, in federal documents, there's an exhibit. Arthur Stormy Weathers actually cannot fight on February 10th, 1996. He brings a letter to Don King saying, I can't fight. And his manager also writes saying that he can't fight. But Don King does not find a replacement for Stormy Weathers. So they still do the photo shoot and they still do the weigh-in. There's a contract here, as you probably know, when you fight in Vegas, you have to sign an articles of agreement with the commission. And so you've got Arthur Stormy Weathers, his purse is $10,000 for that fight, but they can't seem to find Tommy's contract for that fight, which is something unusual. The other unusual thing is that you probably know that you have to sign a medical release form when you go for medicals, right? And the signature on that medical release form was not Tommy's. So I even got a forensic investigator on that signature, and the signature on that medical release form was something very similar to John Brown's signature. And John Brown was Tommy's manager that he had fired several months before, so who was out of the picture. So that was a very strange thing. Then
that's strange.
I also dig further in the last 10 years, and I come across another exhibit that the commission filed, and it's exhibit 0015. And the commissioner, Bob Bennett in Vegas, is saying Morrison was not suspended indefinitely on February 10th, 1996. Now, which is really weird because he was suspended. The fight was canceled and he was kicked out of boxing. Another very strange thing is they brought up in the lawsuit another exhibit, and it's TM, and believe me, these exist, TM0015, and the commission lifts Tommy's suspension on July 11th, 2006. Okay, so he's been on suspension from 1996, and they lift it in 2006. Why would they do that, Tim?
Whoa, this is crazy.
Okay.
Wow.
So then I looked further into the rules and regulations. Did you ever fight in Vegas, Tim?
Yeah, I fought Larry Holmes there. I fought several fights there.
And what years did you fight?
Oh, I'm kind of old.
82,
the
83, 84, oh, early 80s. Tim.
I fought there about I fought Greg Page there. I fought Greg Page there. I fought Bone Crusher, and no, I fought him in New York. I fought Bone Crusher. I fought about 5 times in
You
Vegas.
were Mr. Las Vegas, in other words.
Right.
I
And
wasn't Mr. Las Vegas, but I fought there. I was there.
Pretty damn close. When you fought
and
Larry Holmes, you should have been.
Yeah, 1983. I fought him in '83. Yeah,
and then when was your last fight in Vegas?
girl, I'll be 65. I'm 65, so I can't remember the last fight. I can't remember my last fight in Vegas.
Okay. Do you remember them drawing blood and testing you for HIV?
Did they ever test me for HIV? I don't think so. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think they tested me for HIV. No, they
Right.
did other tests. They didn't test me for HIV. No.
Right. Okay. So that's another interesting fact that I had to look at is in the legislature in Las Vegas, and this is a legal document. It's got the seal and everything on there.
Mm,
And this is dated December 29th, 1997. And this is the legislator passing the law to test for HIV.
mm,
So, timeline, once again, this is December 29th, 1997. Tommy was kicked out of boxing on February 10th, 1996, on a law that did not exist. So
mm.
tell me why that is.
Hey, listen, I've been inside, like, been in courts and stuff. This sounds kind of crazy. All this here.
It does. And then some
It's evident.
more legal documents here, where actually ESPN really are the ones that really run with it. They're the ones that came out with something in 2013. And I'll read it to you. This is their article, Tim. It says since February 10th, 1996, when the Nevada Athletic Commission said Morrison tested positive for HIV before a fight, the 44-year-old has spent most of his days dodging the diagnosis. And of course, when ESPN brings something out, it goes viral.
Yeah.
Now, the only problem is that nobody is owning up to a diagnosis anymore. One of the questions in the lawsuit to the commission was, admit you told the media you tested him and found him positive for HIV, and that Morrison tested positive for HIV. And the commission responds, deny. No, we didn't. We didn't say he tested positive for HIV.
Don't you know that everybody in the whole world will want to will want to know that this is going on. This this is like I'm on this show and you telling me all this evidence and
Yeah,
everybody know Tommy Morrison. I'm like,
everybody. Yeah,
this is some big stuff on this here podcast. And
yeah,
I'm like shocked in a way. I'm shocked. I'm
yeah,
like, all this, I was with him real quick. I was with him. He's a really good guy.
yeah,
And he's famous. And he, they stopped him from fighting. They said he allegedly had AIDS, and everybody
yeah,
know about it. This is big, and you got it on this podcast.
yeah.
All this evidence.
It is, and it's evidence, like I said, that you can go pull it up in the U.S. Supreme Court. It's all memorialized in there, and the Ninth Circuit Court. And and nobody wants to talk about it.
98% of the people in the world don't even know.
No, that's right.
I know more than almost 95% of the people, maybe a little bit more than that.
Yeah,
because
Make this
you
happen.
know, it's only channels on YouTube, you know, people like us that give her the platform where she can reveal these things.
Yeah.
Because you know, does the press, does boxing in general, they just want to put a hush on you. They want to put duct tape on your mouth and
Hey, I don't see why a network wouldn't pick this up. I don't see why a network wouldn't want to pick this here information up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the New York Times, the New York Times wrote in July 2007 that that Tommy took 3 specific AIDS tests and they all came up negative, but then they implied that they weren't that he messed around with the blood samples or it was taken from tissue samples. What's that all about, Trisha?
Yeah, very interesting. And yet throughout this 10-year court case, nobody's even brought that up. Nobody's even, put into evidence those tests or even contacted the New York Times. So actually, there's nobody in Vegas that has diagnosed Tommy. Otherwise, I'd give you a picture, right, of the person. There's nobody in Tulsa that diagnosed Tommy with HIV based on an FDA test. If you look, I don't know, Tim, if you remember Tommy having to stand up there at that press conference, after he got flown out of Vegas, and he says, don't look at me as a role model. I have just been told I have definitely tested positive for the virus. Well, that was February 1996. And per the CDC, there was no FDA approved test in February 1996 for him to have said that. The CDC also don't claim to have diagnosed him. When he finally went to fight in West Virginia, there is nobody up there that has diagnosed Tommy with HIV.
Yes, okay.
He went and fought in Wyoming, and nobody there diagnosed him with HIV. He was in Nebraska. Nobody there diagnosed him with HIV.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
That was Shania's mother from Tottenham calling to talk to her.
Okay.
She called. We were at that restaurant down in Pennsylvania too. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This,
you're tighter with your exes than you are with your current ladies, man. It's funny.
I'm just friendly with her. I'm just friendly. We all got to live in this world. I love everybody, and I don't have no problems. I do have problems, but I just don't want any.
Damn, that's kind of the way I live too, man. I love everybody, but there's certain I like a little more than the rest. And hey, I want to talk to somebody I like out there. Blood boxing. Wait a minute, Timmy. Let me shout out blood boxing. Lisa Bales. And I saw somebody else come in here. I didn't shout them out, man, because man, if it wasn't for them, we'd be sitting there talking to ourselves. Brian Hodkin, salute to all you cats for coming in here, man. I got some great guests on here. I have my brother Tim Witherspoon, who come on at a phone call, man. Such a nice guy. And I'm honored to have Trisha Morrison, the widow of Tommy the Duke Morrison, man. And if you don't know Tommy Morrison, man, then you don't know boxing, bro. This man graced so many of these magazines, and I mean, it's an honor to have her on here, man.
This is big.
It is big. And then
this bigger than this show. This bigger than us talking. I can't believe this.
Yeah. And then the test results, I asked to see the test results that supposedly was the result from 1996. And it's based on a $23 test. Right. These are all the things that are wrong with that test result. And it's based on a $23 test, which was not approved by the FDA. It was ordered by a physician that said he never ordered the test. It has Tommy listed down as 99 years old. It says that the blood was stored in a toxicology freezer. And, when you test for HIV, it needs to be room temperature. It lists as well that one of the marks that it recognized was P31, and this is 1996. It's saying, oh, he had P31 in his blood. Well, in 1993, the FDA dropped that P31 marker. So it shouldn't even be on a test result. There's no signature. So this is all the evidence that they came up with to show that he had HIV. But yet there's no signature signing off on this. And the results are based on a $23 test that was never FDA approved.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How come there's a lot of big time lawyers, a lot of big time people out there? How come nobody would assist you and help you with this story? I can't believe this is shocking.
Yeah, it is
now
shocking.
I'm hearing this stuff after all these years. Now I'm hearing all this evidence that you have.
Yeah.
How come nobody come step up and try to help you fight it?
You know, when I went to Vegas to find an attorney for Tommy Morrison, right? First of all, it's almost like, well, he was in denial, right? And I'm thinking, no, you know, I got a post-mortem that says that he was not in denial, that he never had HIV. I was flat out told by a few attorneys in Vegas, which is where you have to file the case because it happened in Vegas, that I would never find an attorney to go up against the Attorney General's office and the Nevada Athletic Commission. I was told that I would never, ever find one because their children go to school with their children, they brush shoulders with each other in Vegas, and that nobody would represent Tommy in this case.
Well, you figured you can probably, you know, United States is big. You probably figured you can make a lot of noise in other states. The heck with that Nevada, make a lot of noise and try to bring it to, you know, it's crazy. I can't believe that.
It's crazy. And the media won't make noise of it, Tim. You know, I'm extremely thankful for
I'm
Bruce.
surprised at that because I hate to cut you off. I'm surprised at that because you figure ESPN, I mean not ESPN, you figure like all these big networks would love that to talk about Tommy Morrison. You know, oh, this would happen to Tommy. Damn.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at that.
Well, you know what? It's taken 10 years to get all this evidence. You know, I'm glad I've got the evidence. I'm glad that people can pull it up in the court records. You know, before Tommy was told he was in denial, he was crazy. The media made fun of him. You know, I've probably gone through about 7 years of that too since Tommy died. You know, she's in denial, you know, the wicked widow. You know, it's taken a lot of courage to get this far, but everything that I'm producing is in the court of law. You know, you can't argue with it. For example, in one of the documents in the court of law, docket 283, page 28, line 14, the counsel for the physician in Vegas says it is important for you to understand that Dr. Voy did not diagnose and never has diagnosed Mr. Morrison as HIV positive. This is an attorney talking for his client who was the physician in Vegas in 1996. So, you know, and then there's more. You know, the physician that did the weigh-in, he also had to do a report for the Nevada Commission. And he says, Dr. Berliner, who was the physician there, who probably did your weigh-ins too, said, I have this day examined the above named person and find them in physical condition to engage in boxing contest for the above date, February 10th, 1996. And this is the commission filing this exhibit. You know, it's unbelievable that that it's got this far, and people, and you didn't even know it, Tim. And then there's another doctor who was the CEO of the lab in Las Vegas, and this is in court records. It's docket 136, page 9, line 27 to 28, and he is the his name is Dr. Henry Soloway, and he was the 1996 CEO of that lab. He writes, I conclude that Mr. Morrison was never infected with the HIV virus. And that's a document right there.
Wow, this is really crazy. I'm serious.
Insane. Trish, I'm going to ask you another question. Now, Tommy died at 44, and people assumed it was age related. I heard a story about a little bug bite on his armpit, and it was supposed to be a one-day operation. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
This is big news. This is big.
Absolutely. You know, there are a lot of boxers that die. You know, they're run over by cars. They are shot. You know, they die of cancer. They die of something coming out of the ring, right? They die of something. So that was one question I got asked a lot. Well, you know, if Tommy didn't have HIV, which he didn't, what did he die of at such a young age? Well, Tommy was thrown into jail in Tennessee, which is where we moved to, based on a felony fugitive warrant of arrest over marijuana, right, Bruce?
Wow.
So, but you know, like everybody, like you just said, Tim, he's a celebrity. Everybody wants to talk about Tommy Morrison. Well, that's
A lot
fine.
of people love Tommy.
They loved him, but so did the cops. He was a cop magnet, right? Which meant that they couldn't wait to stop him for something just to get his autograph, just to have 5 cop cars around him, on him. You know, they did that quite often. He wore his beanie in the summer here in Wichita, Kansas. So what did they do? They tried to arrest him because they thought that that was really weird, right? So anyway, he was thrown into jail in Tennessee, and I tried to get him out, but it was a sealed felony fugitive warrant of arrest, and they didn't unseal it until he got to Wichita, Kansas. And when I finally got him out of jail in Wichita, Kansas, he complained that there was something wrong with the side of his chest. So I took him to a physician, and it was a spider bite on the side of his chest. And there is a document in court records where the physician, Dr. Ossio, and he's a physician, it's not Trisha Morrison that's saying this, where he says on September 29th, 2011, Tommy Morrison was seen in this office. He had a large abscess to his right axilla, which was the result of an insect bite, probably spider, and he had to drain it. And this is what it looked like when he drained it. I don't know if you can see that, right?
Yeah, I can see it. We can see it.
So that's him draining it. That's his letter saying that he's got a spider bite. This is a document showing how much it costs to drain. And he said you would need to have surgery on there because it's got your chest infected. So December 1, Tommy and I went to surgery in Tennessee. And it was supposed to be a 1-hour surgery, and it was supposed to get rid of the infection in the side of his chest. Well, the 1-hour surgery turned into at least 4 or 5 hours, if not longer, and we were in the hospital for 8 days, not 1 day. And when Tommy came out, he was a totally different man. He didn't drive back. I drove. He was very quiet. He was very much in pain. And the next day, the home health lady came, and she came to change the bandage on the side of his chest. And this is a 4x4 bandage, a gauze bandage. And she took it off, and there is the surgery. He was cut open in his chest, right? And I am showing, wait, there's something still in his chest. And she goes, no, all I have to do is just change this bandage. And I said, no, 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 no. So I get this thing here, and I say, no, there's something right in there. So she looks closer. And these are real pictures, Tim. These are real pictures of his chest, right? So there's something in there, okay? And that something was gauze. So, and I'm reenacting this, but you can see I've squished the gauze into what could be his chest. There was a little piece of little thing sticking out, and
Yeah.
she pulled, and she kept pulling, and 12 foot of surgical gauze came out of Tommy's chest.
Oh my goodness.
And he was sitting on the stool in the kitchen. He had no painkillers because we didn't know this was in his chest. And it comes out, and obviously it's covered in blood, and it's got blood clots on there. Comes out, further comes out, more comes out, and you've got 12 foot of surgical gauze coming out of his chest, tightly packed, that had been in there for 8 days, and nobody was told about it. And you have 12 foot of surgical gauze coming out of his chest, immediately causing septic shock and septicemia. And this is what his chest looked like after the gauze had come out. Right? You could fit your whole hand in his chest. And that night he went to the bedroom, and I mean, you guys don't cry in the ring. You've never cried in the ring, have you, Tim?
No.
Never. And you got punched in the face or the stomach or the groin.
I had a good defense.
Yeah. And the same with Tommy. You know, if you look back at what Ray Mercer did, you know, punching, right? You never saw Tommy cry, ever.
No.
But this was his first time I think he's ever really cried in pain. You know, he cried emotionally. You all cry emotionally. You know, you're just like regular guys. You have emotions. But this time it was crying because of pain. And he went to the bedroom, and on his way to the bedroom, his right leg gave way, which was the same side as his chest surgery. And they had pulled out major and minor pec muscle out of his chest. He fell, and he went straight through a wall, broke the wall, fell on his neck, and he was on his side. And that was the beginning of his downfall. You know, and the media wouldn't tell anybody that. The ESPN completely withheld all that information, but that was the beginning of 21 months of hell, in and out of hospitals, in and out of IC units, because he fought that. You know, he had septic shock, septicemia, and cardiac arrest. He died of cardiac arrest, septic shock, septicemia, and multi-organ failure. But one thing that did happen was that his wound completely healed. I don't know if you can see that, but I did kind of like a yellow highlight. That was a scar, but his wound had completely healed. But the damage was already done from the gauze in his chest causing septic shock. I did try, people go, well, why didn't you try and fight that? Why didn't you take that surgeon to court? I filed papers with the Medical Advisory Board in Tennessee, and they lost them. And then I filed them again with them, and then they said I was out of time. So that's where that went, right? But that's how Tommy died. And because we were in these absolutely amazing facilities, he got the best care. And the facility that we ended up in Omaha, Nebraska, they were able to do all the tests for us, just to prove everybody that he did not have AIDS. They did the test that Dr. Anthony Fauci, the big guy that everybody knows, they did the testing that if you had AIDS, you would have this, you would have that, you would have that. So Tommy had all those tests done, and they all came back negative. And then we even had tests done in Boston, Massachusetts, General Hospital, and they drew the blood and found no HIV. And these are all the physicians, all the photos that I sent through to you, none of them found HIV in Tommy whatsoever. And then I watched the ESPN documentary, and you've got this physician in that documentary sitting Tommy down, and everybody's going, oh, you know, that's the guy that diagnosed Tommy with HIV. Well, the test that he is explaining to them actually was not an FDA approved test and was not FDA approved for the detection of HIV virus. So they're kind of sending us down a path thinking, okay, he was diagnosed with HIV. No, he wasn't, not even in that scene. I even contacted the CDC and I said, okay, so there's another test called the CD4 count test, the T cell count, that if it's really, really low, you're supposed to be dead and dying of AIDS. And the CDC came back and said, well, wait, you can have a low blood count in that test if you have an autoimmune disorder or if you have, a septic shock or sepsis or something else going on. So poor Tommy, all the years that he went through after Vegas, nobody ever tested him to find out if he had an autoimmune disorder that could have triggered a false positive result on the tests that he was given. You can test false positive or false negative on tests.
Okay.
Nobody did that until we got to Nebraska. And he did have blood disorders, which would trigger a false positive, but he never had the virus.
That makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. I'm kind of like shocked.
Wow. Me too. I
all
thought I
these
heard.
years, after all these years, Bruce, bam, right in your. I'm like, whoa, he's American. He's America in the world. Everybody loved him everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
No.
He could have been one of the richest boxers in history if he would have kept on and be successful. This is I can't believe all this information. I'm like, wow, I'm here with all this information. Oh my God.
So, there's more information. I'll finish it off here. I think everybody's heard of Dr. Margaret Goodman, right?
Oh yeah, another commissioner.
I heard that name.
Right. Your face, Tim, is yeah. She's in charge of VADA now, right? The voluntary anti-doping, right?
Okay.
So she was part of this lawsuit. So I go to her because in 2006, when Tommy's really trying to do a comeback, she's the one that then comes out in the media saying, no, he tested positive for HIV in '96. How can you guys be letting him get a license? So I have flat out asked her, admit you can provide a document that confirms the diagnosis of the virus HIV in Tommy's blood on February 10th, 1996. And she responds, deny. She couldn't. She couldn't provide any evidence of a diagnosis or HIV in Tommy. And that is Dr. Margaret Goodman, who's in charge of the medical advisory board for the Nevada State Athletic Commission. So it's been real interesting. What another interesting thing is, and this is why I pursue it, is because it could happen to another boxer. The commission did not know that the tests could test positive if somebody had an autoimmune disorder, right? And they say that in a court document again, and it is court document 146, where they say flat out, and do not have knowledge of the possibility of false positives. Wow. So when people say, well, why didn't he get tested again? Well, he kept getting tested, but the tests were not FDA approved for the virus, and nobody took the time to find out from the test kit manufacturers that you could actually test positive for certain antibodies, but they were not antibodies to HIV. In fact, we did blood photo images as well. I don't know if you can see it, but Tommy's blood is section A. There's no dots there. There's no virus. This is section B, which is from the CDC, showing HIV in the blood, right? All those little dots. Yeah. But here's Tommy's blood is A, and section B is the CDC saying that's what HIV looks like in blood. It was nowhere in Tommy's blood It was nowhere in his sputum. It was nowhere in his sperm. It was nowhere in his cerebral spine fluid, nowhere in his body whatsoever. And in fact, the smoking gun document is from the lab themselves, where I asked the lab, please state with specificity and describe in detail your methodology for detecting retroviruses. The scientific word for a retrovirus is HIV. HIV stands for human immune deficiency virus, but in scientific terms, it's a retrovirus. And the council for Quest Diagnostics says Quest Diagnostics cannot answer this interrogatory because no specific retrovirus has been identified. They can't find it.
Wow.
Right.
You have all your information right in line and everything. Go ahead.
And then this last one is Tommy's post-mortem. And while the media were going crazy on September 2nd, saying Tommy was diagnosed with HIV in Las Vegas in February 1996, died of HIV/AIDS on September 1, 2013. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, no, wait, there's a post-mortem being done on him. And 2 weeks later, I get the post-mortem where it says, no viral particles seen, no abnormality, no retroviral inclusions, no retroviral budding. This all in scientific terms means no HIV in Tommy. And it's been since then that I've been trying to get the word out there. And, just like Tommy, it's been a fight. But I've got everything together now. And there's more documents. I mean, you asked me why I couldn't get an attorney. Well, the attorney for Quest Labs filed a disc with the court saying, oh, this is all the medical information on Tommy. But what they left out was his post-mortem report. Right? They withheld that because they knew that would be it. That would be it. So who done it? Who done it, Tim?
That was the last question I was going to ask you. Who do you think did it?
Who done it? Was it John Brown?
I'm in shock, really, right now. I'm in shock. That something I'm hearing that he didn't have it. And then you would figure they would do that to somebody else. He was he was the world's next champion, and everybody was behind him. He was America. Everybody was behind him.
And Don King hired him. He was getting ready to become a multimillionaire.
Why did they do that to him?
That's the question. That's when we're asking you, Trisha. Why do you think they did that to him?
I don't know. I mean, hopefully there'll be a movie that will come out. There's people. There's people.
Tell us the ending.
I'm sorry to cutting you off.
No, go ahead.
Is big. What you just presented to me, I'm like in shock.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
Yeah. I think there will be an ending to it. We will find out who done it. But it'll be at the very end, and there'll be proof. So, yeah.
You got everything in order too. You have everything in order. You're explaining it. I understand it, and I'm kind of like I was rushing here to get here. I was and I'm like, wow, that's simply you explained everything. I'm surprised that nobody picked it up. You have no help.
Yeah.
Or whatever. If you do,
it sounds open and shut.
It sounds that way.
I think Tim, though, I think the boxing world needs to get together and help me on this. Like the NFL players got together, for people that get concussion and CTE. the boxing world needs to get together with me on this. I mean, this is bigger than the Muhammad Ali Act, right? This is the Tommy Morrison Act. Hey, guys, when you go for blood tests, make sure that the legislature has passed that so that you can have blood drawn. And hey, while you're passing that rule, make sure that people know that they can test false positive because they may not have the virus. And, don't kick them out of boxing until you've tested them for everything else that it could possibly be. So, but the problem is, Tim, is that there are too many boxers that want to be in the Hall of Fame, right? So it's like, oh my goodness, Trisha Morrison, we can't ruffle the feathers, right? Bone Crusher knew all about this. Bone could have helped us, right? Mike Tyson, he could have me on his podcast. I don't smoke marijuana, right? But I will sit through and be on his podcast and tell the world. He could help me spread this news out there. He is a boxing brother to Tommy.
Did you talk to him?
Not personally. It's hard to get a hold of him. In fact, Tommy found it really hard to get a hold of Tyson. He kept changing kept changing his phone number all the time, right? And
you told the truth. Real quick, I got his number. I called him for a different thing. I called him twice. The next time I called him, you couldn't get his number. He changed his number like every 3 weeks. That's how much phone calls he gets. Yeah.
I can imagine, but I just need help. I need help getting the story out. I mean, all I'm doing.
I don't see how I hate to keep cutting you off. I don't see how come he was America's, the world's hero, Tommy Morrison, the Duke. Everybody was looking for him because of his skin color, right? Because of his skin color, and he was a warrior.
Yeah.
He was like a $1 million baby. He was going to be a billionaire. Imagine him and Mike Tyson. What money that would generate.
Yeah, Bert Sugar said that would have been the biggest fight in history. Well, this fight that I'm fighting for Tommy, and the fight that he was fighting too when he was alive, this is the biggest boxing blunder in the history of boxing. Right. And what happened to him needs to get out there, to restore his legacy. So much damage has been done to him.
I'm shocked.
Professionally and personally. And the evidence is all here. I'm not hiding anything. Everything is available to everybody. So, yeah.
I just can't believe it. I'm like shocked in a way, I'm up here. Well, Tommy got the disease and stuff on boom. Now I'm hearing, I can't believe it. I think there's some big, you mean to tell me you can't get no big people involved in this at all these years went by?
Nope. Not one.
It sounds like a giant cover up. Like somebody made a mistake and then everybody just compounded it by covering it up, shutting their mouths, turning their heads. And now it would be a conspiracy busted wide open. It's
big lawsuit too.
Big. Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I'm grateful that I had the platform to let you speak on that, Trisha, because believe me, you've opened a lot of eyes out there. People are talking about it in the chat. And look at Tim, man. Tim is I
feel different now.
Tim's behind the scenes.
I feel different and everything. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Should be addressed too.
Yeah, it should be. So I need your help. I need everybody's help. I can't do this on my own. I can't be the sales and marketing for this. You guys have to help me. You loved him too.
Surely did. I was with him. He was a really cool dude.
Yeah.
We talked. He stood up to what was wrong. He stood up to what was right.
Yeah.
And that's when, because before I met him, I was like, oh, he's just another white guy from, they trying to build up. But when I met him, if his skin was, if I had my back turned, I wouldn't tell if he was whatever color he was, because he was down to earth. He didn't care. What was right was right. And I was like, hey, he's really cool. And he treated me good when we was together. We was at in England. I was like, wow, Tommy's really cool. Yeah, come on, Tim, let's go over here and stuff. Really down.
Yeah,
His legacy shouldn't be left like this.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot to repair. We need to repair his legacy and get his name out there. He, in a good way. But he lived so many years with that over him, and they were very, very dark years. And he just it was just very sad, very, very sad.
Hey, I feel kind of bad now after this hearing all this stuff, and
Well, this had to be told, and there's a lot of people out here like yourself that never heard anything about this. I heard a little bit about it when I spoke to Trish earlier on Twitter, and I went and I listened to other interviews because she's not telling us anything brand new. This is out there, but people just don't they don't spread it out. They don't tell people, and that's why. Do it on little platforms like this, and I appreciate that. And Tim coming on here because people will learn about this, and we'll see if something can happen. Because, like you said,
Yeah.
we don't want this to happen again.
nobody
Right.
know that this. Nobody know that it went down like this.
No.
That's why I'm shocked. I'm like, whoa. Nobody knew unless they listened to her. They
Mm.
won't know
Well,
either.
that's it.
It's going to change a lot of people. It's going to change a lot of people's thoughts when they hear it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, I'm really shocked. I'm like, damn.
I'm glad you came on here with me tonight, Tim. I
Yo,
appreciate
it's changing me a little bit. I'm like, whoa, I'm in shock. Like, whoa, all this happened?
Yeah.
I do believe that we have to find a way to try to get, you have to get more people involved. And I'm sure if a lot more boxers knew, they'll be like me too and shocked.
Yeah.
Believe that.
Yeah.
Just tell them to watch. Just tell them to watch the show, man, because it's going to be
special. I feel special because I'm on the show listening to this. I feel special that she got on there and she explaining what really happened all these years. Oh yeah, he had got this and he passed away, But now I'm hearing this. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm gonna tell some more people about it.
We'll see how long YouTube lets us keep this show up because I hope it gets a lot. I hope people look at it. I mean, I'm not here to get views. I'm not here to get monetized. I'm here to have a good time, to talk to brothers like Tim Witherspoon, and then meeting my sister Trisha Morrison over here. I mean, you'd be surprised what this does for a 67-year-old man. I feel like a kid again.
There's a
man.
podcast tomorrow at 7. The podcast you did. Remember we did that on Friday. There's another one. If she has a lot of energy, we can go again tomorrow with Graham and them if you want to. 7 o'clock. The guys from England and Ireland, no, Canada. The guys from Canada. 2 guys from Canada. You was on the show, Bruce, before, right?
I don't know, Tim. I went on a couple of them with you on your panel. But I don't think I did that one with all those cats from Ireland. No.
From Canada.
From Canada. No, bro. I think I would remember that.
Okay. But it's tomorrow night at 7.
All right, man. Hey, you know me. I guess I'm a YouTube whore over here. Somebody throws $1 my way, which is in the form of an invitation to jump on a panel with talking boxing. I love it, and being on here tonight. Going back and getting this insight, it was really incredible, Trish. I know I kept you here for a bit, man. I thank you so much, my sister.
I feel really bad, though. I feel bad. I think that a lot more people should. So listen, Bruce, I can call you later, or we can call and talk. And if she want to get on, she can come on tomorrow at 7 o'clock. But she needs some more stronger areas to hit, so people really know. Yeah. I'm really shocked, man.
All right, Trish, just let me know in a DM, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, guys, I really appreciate it. I appreciate Donnie and Jeff and Bob Mirovic, Richie LaMontagne, Carletta. I mean, all these boxers out there that are trying to help and get the word out.
Name names.
Yeah. I need more.
Would she have enough time to come on tomorrow at 7? Or are you busy?
I can check my schedule. I work tomorrow, but
Okay.
I'll let me be in touch with Bruce, and then yeah, I would love to. I mean,
It's a
anything I can
pleasure.
do.
It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm like feel like something changed in me. It's like my
Yeah.
life is going in. Not that I know I have a lot of things to do, but bam, now I'm going into another direction
Hey,
because I'm hearing this news about Tommy Morrison, and I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, things just stopped. I say, bam, that's a big
Yeah.
hit. That's a big hit.
hey, when a
That's
pretty
really
little lady
big.
can rock a 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, you know
Yo,
she's speaking some facts, brother.
that is big. That
Yeah.
is big.
Well, I appreciate you guys not being afraid to help me and
Thank
help
you.
Tommy.
Well, I
You
will
know, I
speak
can't think of a
about
better
it.
cause to go out on.
I'll
Yeah.
speak about it. See if we can get her on tomorrow. If not, I'm still going to talk to them. I'm on the show
Okay.
tomorrow. I'm going to talk to them about the
Please.
situation. Yes, and I'm going to tell them, and then maybe we can have you on in a couple of weeks, whenever.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get some legends together, Tim. Maybe we can get some of the legends together from last weekend.
Oh, Brian got everybody together.
There we go, bro. There we go,
We got
man.
like 25 guys. He's
Hey,
gonna
I would love that. I
that's
would love
that's,
that. And I
that's
can
my kind of
answer,
people.
yeah, I mean, just arrange something. I can answer any questions. I've got the evidence. They can ask me whatever.
believe it.
And let's do that. Please get the boxing
Okay.
world together for Tommy.
Yeah.
I'm glad I came on the show. Now I like feel like something changed. I know I have a lot to do in my life, but this is really something, man. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
This is something. This has to be addressed. So I'm
Thank you.
definitely going to be thinking about this, talking to people about it. And next time, Bruce, I'll get in touch with you to see if we could really help her.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the people won't stick up for America's that was going to be the best boxer in history. If he would have won, he would have been big, big, big.
And
Right.
this is from a man who knows.
Huh?
I'm saying this is from a man, Tim Witherspoon, who knows how big
Yeah.
a guy with the right connection, the white complexion can get in the heavyweight division, right?
I'm shocked. I can't believe this.
Yeah.
Let's move forward. Let's move forward.
God bless you guys.
God
Thank you
bless you
very
too.
much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure talking to you. I really
You
appreciate
too,
it.
sweetie.
I'm
Thank
on
you.
your team. I'm on your team. I'm gonna talk to a lot of boxers about it and see if
Okay.
we can see, and if they hear about it, they'll say, wow, I can't believe it. Get a lot of people interested in it, okay?
Just don't be afraid. Okay.
No, I'm not. I can't believe that.
All right.
I'm
Thank
one
you,
of the
Bruce.
first guys to know.
Sister, God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you,
All
guys.
right.
All
Good
right,
night.
Bruce. Thank you. Thank
Good
you
night.
very much. I can't
Bye.
believe it. Woo.
All right, man. That
It's
was
something.
Tim. That was awesome, brother.
I can't believe that.
That's why I wanted to give you a buzz, because I know, she mentioned, she asked me if I knew Tim Witherspoon, and I said, yeah, I think Tim's my brother, man. I love Tim Witherspoon.
I
And she
love
said,
you
well,
too.
ask him if he wants to stop on here with the show with us. In fact, I said to her, I said, and it worked out well, because this way, I don't know this way. I don't even know what we're driving out here, but thank you so much, my brother. I don't want to take up any more of your time.
No, I'm just
You
gonna
are.
finish cooking. I just ate a little piece of chicken. I'm gonna go cook the rest.
Yeah, every time I see you, you're eating, man.
No, I just came from the gym. I came from the gym. I rushed in here because I wanted to get involved in everything. And now I'm gonna finish cooking. Let's try to help her. Just call me and let me know. I just can't believe that happened to him if it really was true.
Well, brother, we heard it. I hate to say right from the horse's mouth, but I don't think there was anybody in the world closer to Tommy the Duke Morrison than Patricia, man. And it's just, I feel honored. I feel like I have a responsibility. I want to see people watch this show. Make up your own minds. She's not forcing anything down your throat. She's just telling you what she knows, and she's trying to cure her, get her husband's good name back. And
She
he
had
can
everything in place.
everything in place. Everything in place. Only if it would take a fool to not believe what she's telling us. So, man, Tim, thank you so much, my brother. You have a great night out there.
Keep in touch with me, okay?
Absolutely, brother.
Okay.
God bless you, man.
God bless you too. Talk to you
Peace.
later. Thank you.
Hey, guys, thank you so much for coming in here, man. And anybody that I missed out there, Iceman, come in here, bro, and play the interview back, man. And you guys are asking questions that we answered a little while ago, man. So, hey, thank you so much for coming in here, man. God bless you. This is Bruce Gass, Boxing, Jazz, and More. That girl out there, somebody blast her. Reggie Owens, man. I don't think I shouted you out, brother. Thank you for coming in here, man. Thank you so much for my friend Tim Witherspoon just jumping on with me, you know, and a special thanks to Trisha Morrison, the widow of Tommy the Duke Morrison, man. You know, she just laid a shovelful on us, man. You know, and if you digest what she just told us, and thank you for listening, man. Bruce Gass, I'm out of here. Peace.